Without further ado, I want to introduce a young man who I've met last year on campaigns. He's just a great asset to the community, helping candidates push forth a good message about youth voters. Nick D'Angelo.
Thank you, Kevin, and good morning, everybody, and thank you for being with us today. I'm very proud to have the opportunity to stand here and endorse a man who I've come to know very well over the past few months. I've come to admire him and respect him. And that, of course, is Beals, in case there was any confusion. But when we started up and we set up Be Heard only just under 2 years ago, and by we I mean a bunch of high school students in a classroom after school one day. And we did so against the advice of almost everybody. And we did it because we thought that we could gather together and work for the betterment of our community by working for strong leaders and working to elect strong leaders. And Alan would certainly qualify as someone that we had in mind when we first set out on this mission. Now, over the past 2 years of our existence, we've been able to expand and develop a reputation as a dedicated, able organization focused 100% on ensuring that Putnam County, New York State, and the United States of America is a place where young people can prosper and build their lives. Over the summer, we welcomed 2 new chapters in Nassau and Suffolk County. And by the new year, I think that we'll have another chapter focusing in Schenectady, Rensselaer, and Albany County in the capital region. So in 2012, we'll have the capability and the possibility to become involved in, I think, 7 congressional races out of the 29 that will be happening in 2012. So in just under 2 years, we've managed to expand to about 25% of New York State, and we're very proud of that accomplishment. Thank you. But we're able to do what we do because we have a vision of how government ought to operate, and we have the energy to make that vision into a reality. And when we sit down and we look at candidates that we'd like to support, we look for individuals who can emulate that philosophy, who have the ambition and the drive to make our community better. Now, Alan is certainly a man who puts everything he has into everything he does. He demonstrated that as a lawyer, and then he demonstrated it again as a doctor. He continues to demonstrate as a turkey farmer, as a father, a husband, and a proud grandfather. There is no almost for Alan Beals. There is no subpar. There is no satisfactory. He's someone who puts everything he has into everything he does. And I think there's a lot to be said for someone who demands so much of themselves. I think it's the most basic trait of leadership, and that's leading by example. So now we all know who Alan is, but why do we need him in 2011? Well, I'll tell you that just last month, the Journal News reported that once again, Putnam County is ranked as one of the top tax counties in America. And we're beat out by our sister counties, Rockland and Westchester. But we're losing our future generations. And with them, we're losing their talent and their innovation. They're leaving Putnam, they're leaving New York State. And if we want Putnam to prosper, we need to keep that talent and that innovation, that vibrancy and that energy here. And we need someone in government who understands the importance of growing our community for the future generations. And I think it's very important that that someone be Alan, because he understands that young people aren't asking, how can the government help me? They're asking, when will the government, just like so many of us are asking, when will the government get out of my way so that I can help myself, so that I have the opportunity to help myself? We need someone who values the individual above all else and honors a commitment not to easy success. That's not what Putnam's about, that's not what America's about. But who honors a commitment to an abundance of opportunity. Government, I think, is too preoccupied with trying to provide for individuals, providing for the next generation, but we need to let the talent, let the energy, let the vibrancy create their own destiny. And we can do that by repealing the red tape, to make it easier to start small businesses here, make it easier to stay in business here, make it easier to own a home here, to raise a family here. And that's what we need someone in government to do, so that government can take a backseat to running the lives of our citizens. But if we're going to create a bold new agenda here in Putnam, we're going to need bold new leaders. And I think in Putnam we have a problem, and we have a problem with career politicians. And so this November, we are going to force a few retirements. We're going to let Legislator Oliverio know that 2 decades in county government is long enough, and we've had enough of that. But I have to tell you that throwing out the good old boys, getting rid of the crooks, that alone is not enough to change the direction of government. That doesn't make good government. You need to replace those individuals with strong, hardworking, dedicated, honest men and women. So Alan doesn't need another career. He has enough of those for one lifetime. He's doing this because he has the private sector experience, the real world experience to make our community better, to grow Putnam, to make Putnam County better for all generations. Now we see strong executives like Chris Christie in New Jersey, Rob Astorino in Westchester, Ed Mangano down in Nassau. These are all men who are working to create positive reform in their own governments. And they're facing roadblocks. And the common roadblock that they're facing is dysfunctional legislatures full of career politicians who are more interested in sweetheart deals than in doing the people's work. And if we don't have a strong legislature come January, Putnam is going to fall into the exact same trap. We need Alan to be part of the legislature so that he can work with Mary Ellen Odell as our next county executive, and with the town governments and with Nan Hayworth in Washington, so we can turn this new bold agenda into a new bold era for our county. And so as I keep saying, this is the race to watch in 2011. And as Kevin keeps reminding me, we don't do any polling for these races, so we're following this right up to Election Day. But I feel good about this campaign. I feel strong about this campaign, and I wouldn't be here if I didn't. And there's an energy surrounding it, and that's because of Alan, because of the humbleness of Alan Beals, because he's someone who understands the responsibility that he's seeking in this office, and he understands the magnitude of the times we're in. He is certainly a voice for our generation, certainly an advocate for our generation that we can be proud of and we can trust. And so Be Heard, which is an organization that has devoted itself to those future generations, we are proud to stand behind him and endorse him for Putnam County Legislator.
The less talk and a lot more action.